Greetings, Halo campaign community. Mandrake here. This will be the first in a series of videos that will cover a full LASO run of Halo Infinite. However, this series will be a little different because of one missing skull. Bandana. It's debatable, but I think it's safe to say that Halo Infinite is more on the easier side rather than harder side of compared to Halo LASO of past games, you know, where I see, my opinion, Halo 2, the hardest, Halo Combat, followed by Halo Combat Evolved, perhaps Halo 3 after that. But as far as where it lies, as far as how difficult it is, it's a little easier because with this particular game, there are numerous little loopholes and glitches. You got the tank gun, and there's just numerous things like that. The game just kind of becomes easier. So I was looking at, just going through the game and just found, it's just so easy. Look for videos online. People don't really play do the LASO or, show it or anything like that because it just seems easy. I don't know if it's just laughable or what it is. Some people can get through the game in 30 minutes, and it just seems silly. So I was looking at trying to find some enjoyment with the game with as hard as it can get, and as I look and think about it, the one skull that really gives you the biggest advantage, and there's really no other skull that gives you an advantage. I mean, you can argue that, Grunt Birthday Party gives an advantage, but it's just an entertaining value. It's just some satisfaction. You got a headshot on Grunt.
Then we shut
But
it down.
there's not an advantage to that. However,
weapons,
Bandana, you look at what the advantages it brings to the game and what it gives for you, it makes it
I'll
easy.
figure something out.
You have no cooldown on equipment, so you can just spam your thruster and get camo. You can grapple as fast as you want, or, I mean, just repeatedly spam it all you want. You can spam nades. You have unlimited ammo, and so on and so on. So it's a huge advantage. Huge advantage to the game. So I was looking at taking that out and seeing how the game would play, see how it would work. And this is where I'm at. This will be my third run to do this, as in beginning to end. And I'm also going to give commentary on this as we go. So I'm here meleeing these guys and getting pistol ammo. I found the BR already and set it aside. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to run around. I'm going to get the plasma pistol so I just noob combo these guys. And if you didn't know, there's a rack down here under this ramp that you can get a plasma pistol, and I'm just going to noob combo these guys. But to get back to the LASO without Bandana, first and foremost, you take Bandana out, which in fact it negates the use of famine. So you take Bandana out, now it's a gut punch to have to deal with the ammo that's dropped is now half as much as it would normally be. Placed items are more like 50%. And anything that's any weapons in a rack is normal. It's the norm percentage, it's the normal what it normally is in a rack. So that hasn't changed. But it makes the game, the planning, if anything, it's just more the planning, how to maybe shuffle or move a stockpile of weapons around, things like that, because you're going to run out of ammo, you run out of stuff, because you're also factoring in Mythic and Thunderstorm. So Thunderstorm, how it applies to these Grunts, all the Grunts are going to have shields. Now there's Mules, and it's not like that they have a rank that they upgrade, so Mules are normal. If there's a mule, it's normal. They're the same. They're a simple headshot. They carry what they carry. It's normal. Nothing has changed there. Here, I'm just going to headshot this guy before he can get his shield on. Now, the other Grunts have their shields on. So it's going to be a mean combo with the rest of these Grunts down below. So, as I'm saying about famine and Bandana, how that plays out, lots of planning and things you got to work out. And if anything, really just kind of the bottom line, how it all works out, is the problem solving that this brings about, whether it's myself or really just how it applies with others, how you're going to solve getting through these situations with the skulls that you have in play, that is in without bandana. So I find it's challenging and really gets the mind working on solving problems and solving what you got in front of you and how to get around, you know, these issues.
Everybody, run away!
So last grunt, and so the plan here is to make sure my weapons are full, and I'm going to grab a couple those kinetic coils, and I'm going to use 2 of them on this Berserker when he comes through the door. And so to get to the what I'm really going to be collecting or accomplishing through this, as in not pertaining to like the achievement or anything like that, but it's really kind of get through like these linear closed world missions. It's just kind of get through and get to the end of the mission, just kind of get the mission accomplished and get the mission done. I'll come back to that. I'm going to get through this Berserker, and then I'll continue and speak more on that. So the cutscene is going to kick in. It'll have me drop that coil because I didn't drop it, and I'm going to get a direct hit on him once, pick it up and do another direct hit. He's down. In some cases, a single fusion coil can kill him, and as you saw that time, 1 fusion coil direct hit didn't even take a shield out. Just kind of kicked him around a little, but the second one got him. So the things I'm looking to, as far as things to be completed, I guess I can put it that way. I'm going to capture all the fobs, all of them. I'm going to collect all the Spartan cores for equipment upgrades. I'm going to max out the equipment. I'm going to rescue all the squads for Valor points. Those Valor points are going to come in handy with being able to requisition weapons and vehicles. Going to decommission or destroy all the banished outposts for Valor points. I'm going to destroy all the propaganda towers for Valor points. And lastly, I'll eliminate select high-value targets, especially those where it leads to requisitioning a weapon. So I'll kill one for a weapon, and that's pretty much it. And if there are those that are in your way, well then, yeah, I'm just going to go and kill them just so that they're not in the way. You'll have some of those that they're like on a road as like a roadblock, and you'll have to take them out. But there are plenty others that are just like nearby, off-road and stuff like that, and you'll get notification that you're near an HVT and stuff like that. So really, the 3 big ones that I'm looking to, that I'll look to get, will be the Thav Severim for the Arcane Sentinel Beam. That is the number 1 most important one of all, to equip all the Marines with Sentinel Beams. To get the Volatile Skewer, that comes in handy with Hunters, and the sword, it's whatever that upper variant of sword, which I can't remember the name of right now. Get that one because that comes in handy in the open world, just stabbing enemies so you can get a quick kill with the melee. So here, with Thunderstorm, these grunts, they have shields. However, if you are undetected, they don't know you're around, they don't have their shields on. So if you can sneak in, you can kill 1 or 2 before they're all notified and they all know what's going on, and then they turn their shields on. And then you have to deal with that. Get this last one here, get the melee, because I got shot up with that hateful disruptor.
We do not kneel before false idols. We together fight together.
So I can continue and speak a lot about the LASO. I can speak a lot about how the LASO without bandana, goes along, and methods and tactics, and So here, I think I had misplaced, and I couldn't find the. I couldn't find where I set the BR down. It was down just outside this door up ahead, and I just walked right past it and didn't see it. So I was running around looking for it. So as in this video here, I'll speed up areas where I'm looking around for stuff, because that's just going to get boring and useless. And I also do one of the aspects of the LASO without bandana is I'll move a stockpile. I will move around 2, 3, 4 different weapons for various scenarios, for various situations, because I like to be prepared, usually being prepared for any kind of situation, anything upcoming. I usually know what's upcoming, but in some cases I may not know exactly the numbers, but I'll know what kind of enemies are up ahead. I like using the barrels, I like using these coils and throwing these things around. It's satisfying, even though there's plenty of weapons, plenty of ammo for this mission to get through it. So I'm not just trying to save ammo and stuff like that. But I enjoy the kinetic builds. But as I was saying about like a stockpile, I like for this mission, my stockpile is going to be a plasma pistol, a pulse carbine, and a rocket launcher. And the rocket launcher's only purpose is for the room where it's the bridge. You go to the bridge, and you're going to have 7 brutes to contend with. 3 brute miners, 3 brute majors, and a brute jetpack major. And that jetpack major is very difficult in that room because he's got support, and he's aggressive and charges rather, just come aggressively after you and can easily take you out. So as far as the stockpile goes, got the plasma pistol. Here's a 50% pulse carbine because it was placed, it wasn't in a rack. So I'm going to carry it along. I also find here, you'll see here in a moment, is some kind of adjustment or change was made to the game, and you can't grapple weapons like you used to. And so they changed. I don't know the reason, and I'm pretty sure that I don't know if it's listed as a change, but I could easily grapple weapons without a problem. And I guess people complain that they're in a panic situation and they're trying to get away and they grapple a weapon instead of grappling a wall or the ground or something like that. They want to grapple the ground and they grapple the weapon and they end up dying. So I think that's probably what's come into play. But sure, I realize it's happened to me, but I'm not necessarily freaking out too much about it, because if there's weapons all over, there's stuff on the ground, well then don't grapple where you see a bunch of garbage, because you're going to be grabbing something that you probably don't want to. So that change the game has really been just a major disruption, because I move weapons, I will grapple, because I'm going to move several weapons, and it just gets old, it gets boring if I have to juggle it. I can grapple it and go quicker, but now they've done this grapple thing, and now you could have 3 weapons covering up the ground, and you'll go to grapple the weapon, and you'll end up grappling the ground instead of the weapon. It is silly. So taking these guys out, just outside the elevator. Well, I can't believe that missed like it did, but it turned out to work okay. I kind of want to shot. So these jackal miners, they are 2 melees for the kill. These brute majors, the ones with the shields and rocket launchers, you can't exactly noob combo them. It actually takes 2 overcharged plasma pistols to take their shield out, and then you can get it's 3 BR headshots, like 3 volleys to a couple of them to knock the helmet off and 1 of them for the headshot. But what I typically use and why I move the pulse carbine is 3 pulse carbine volleys will remove his shield, and then I can use the BR 1, 2, 3 shots and he's down. And then it's just wash, rinse, repeat with the pulse carbine on them. The Plasma pistol, obviously, for the grunts. There's plenty of grunts, lots of grunts. They all have shields. And so it just becomes noob combo, all those guys. Elites are tricky and difficult. It's a good thing I don't have to deal with them in this mission, but in the next mission I will. However, interesting thing I learned here, I put these plasma coils in the elevator, and I think, as you'll see, they're going to explode. And I think it's because they're touching the wall of the elevator walls. So as it goes up, it's making contact, and then bam, they explode.
How do we stand
And
a chance
thanks for
against
doing
all this?
damage to my
They
shield.
banished one already. We could be the only 2 humans left alive out here.
Then there's still hope.
So I'm going to get up to the top of this little elevator lobby, and there'll be this hallway, and this will be your first chance to get frag nades. Being that catches on, you kill a few these grunts, and you're going to get plasma nades. Because it's going to be a few more rooms before you can even get the plasma nades. But with catch, you're going to get a few. So I've already got them now. That plasma pistol sitting there, that's a 50% plasma pistol. That'll be extra ammo. But this mission has plenty of weapons, plenty of ammo. In upcoming missions, I'll take a plasma pistol and a second plasma pistol, because you usually go through them, and sometimes there's not as many plasma pistols in the mission. This one's got plenty, so I'm only going to be carrying along the plasma pistol. There's also plenty of pulse carbines, and this guy's about to kill me. I've really got to get down in the sewer. Waiting for him to reload so I can attack him. Those disruptors, they fire at you, and that does damage over time, so you want to make sure you're not shot more than 4 or 5 times. It'll be, I think if you're shot 6 or 7 times, it'll drain your shield all the way down and then melt, and you'll lose all your health, and then you're dead. It just keeps burning you. So with this room coming up, I'm going to do some pulse carbine. I'll do a plasma pistol for the grunts. But I'm going to look to pick off at least one grunt, because they don't see or know I'm here. There's a brute major in the back, and there's 2 brute miners. The brute miners have commandos. They're simple 2-3 headshots. At least a couple shots to kick off the helmet, and then get the headshot. It looks like there's 3 brute miners. Interesting note on these for this mission and brute miners. This is the only mission you're going to come across brute miners. The rest of the way, it's all brute majors or brute jetpack majors. You will get brute snipers. They do not have shields, and in a way, it's kind of like, I was talking about the mules. Yeah, so with the brute snipers, you're probably going to get those that have the skewer, and in some rare instances you'll get them that have a shock rifle. And this brute major did me a favor and blew himself up. He probably would have blown me up. I'm looking around to pick up a weapon, and he shot and blew himself up. I didn't have to deal with him, but it also means I had some shield damage, and if I want to get a checkpoint, I'm going to need to get my shield back. So here I'm just going to, as I'm speeding through, going to gather weapons and ammo, get them all loaded up, and we're going to have these 4 jackal miners. They have the blue shield, and what I enjoyed, typical playthroughs with this room, is I'll grab a fusion barrel, one of those kinetic barrels, and then with one barrel throw, you can kill all 4 of those jackals, but since I need to get my shield back, I'm going to just headshot 3 of them and then just go melee the last one. Yeah, one of the typical, if you guys are familiar with doing LASO, you got Black Eye involved, you need to get your shield so you can earn checkpoints. Save 1 or 2 enemies, or save an enemy so you can get a melee, get your shield back. One of the tricks I like to do with the jackals with the shields, so either the majors or the minors, is I'll do the grapple at his shield. Now it may depend. There's sometimes you can grapple the shield. It might be the jackal majors are a little more resistant, but you can. It may depend where you grapple the shield, but they'll drop their shield and kind of stagger, which allows you to either melee them or get a headshot. So the method, the technique I like to use is just I'm gonna grapple them, get a melee, and being that the minors are 2 melees for the kill, then I'll just melee them twice. The majors are 3 melees, if not, I think they're 3 melees. The skirmishers are the jackals where it's 4 melees. Now I took out a couple grunts. I was undetected. Their shields were down, so I took 2 of them out. I think there's 2 more grunts remaining, and 4 or 5 brute majors going here. Yeah, that was a good nade. Took a little damage. For this run, I had some deaths here or there, and so I just went back to checkpoint. So I just edited out all the so no one has to sit through seeing all the deaths and the going back to checkpoint. So these are just the successful runs for going back to checkpoint. With the other upcoming missions like Foundations or Foundation and some other missions, I'll leave in a death or 2 here or there just to kind of show certain situations. Like you got this situation, I overcame this, but didn't overcome that. You had some situations it was just silly. You got, sometimes one of these brutes with the rocket launcher just point blank shoots you. Point blank with the rockets, and it just seems silly, but yeah, and then we all blow up, and it might be the only time that you'll see that in the whole mission. It's just like that's just that one occurrence, and I'll leave that in. It's like, yeah, that's just kind of the weirdness of the game, kind of the unusual things that happen in the game, like unusual deaths. I'll leave in to show some of those, but only in cases where if it's not going to take too much time and not a distraction and slow things down. So he's throwing out his nades, and I hop down to avoid any of the nade damage. So I got these 2 guys left. I'm going to work on that brute major in the back, and then save the grunt to get my shield back. And I'm just ignoring the grunt, and he almost got me with that nade, man, that catch. They like to throw instead of shoot. There are some behaviors that I picked up on. In some cases, if it's the enemy sees you, it's like for the first time they see you, it's like you come around the corner and they see you, it's like an instinctual thing, or if you want to call it, it's the scripting thing. It's scripted, they're going to throw a nade at you the moment they see you instead of shooting. In some cases, the brutes will do it, but in other cases, instead of throwing a nade, they're just fire the rockets. It's the moment they see you, they fire rockets. You got to be kind of aware of that. So here I'm picking up a rocket launcher, and I have a full rocket launcher now. Got a full plasma pistol, full pulse carbine, and I'm gonna want to mention one of the other parts of this is when it comes to no bandana and having to kill all the enemies and go through this, is a lot of this is going to be a slow play. Instead of quickly going through and go as quick as you can and try and get it done, it's hard to when you take damage and got to get your shield back with, Black Eye comes into play. So it really kind of slows things down. So there is a little more of a slow play when doing these missions. This particular mission, if I want to at least talk about this one, is that this is probably the easiest one of all the missions here. You're not dealing with a lot of some of the more higher tiered power weapons. One of the some of the difficulties that come into play is you're working with the basic grapple. You have no threat sensor or none of the other equipment. You're dealing with the very basic grapple and some of the just basic weapons, but you're also dealing with some of the very basic enemies too. You're only going to get one jetpack major in this. So as per usual, using the pulse carbine on the brute majors. I'm going to save the jackals for a shield charge. Yeah, I like the coils, but the coil hits the top of the doorway. And as far as mentioning about being a slow play, there's times I die plenty of times. I'm aggressive. There's times I just like to aggressively go after these guys. Playing this part of the game, as I'm mentioning, like the LASO bandana, I've become real familiar with doing it, and I've become more and more confident with it. So I become even more aggressive and just go right after them. And there's times where these guys the enemies work together well. And so some of their strengths is they fall back into coverage with other, with their other comrades and their compatriots, and use their teamwork together against you. So now at this point, it's getting ready for the bridge fight. And as far as the bridge fight goes, you can only carry your two weapons. There's no juggling any weapons in. So I'm going to be taking the BR. I'll take a full BR and a full rocket launcher. One of the things I wanted to do was carry in the plasma cannon, which you'll see me carry in. I'll look to do that. But if I remember correctly, and I want to say I've done this before, I believe you could carry the plasma cannon onto the bridge, but I think a change was made and you can't do it anymore. So I'm not sure what happened there. But if my memory serves me right, and usually it doesn't, I believe I remember carrying the plasma cannon on the bridge before. So just saying. So in this room, there's another BR, so those that want to do co-op, there is a BR in this room. It's in the back left corner. You'll see me drop this, and I'm going to go back and reload my BR off of that. It's a placed BR. It's going to have a 3636. And here I am just kind of looking around. I do the scope in and scope out to determine which weapon I have. So here I'm going to just go right in on the the cutscene's going to kick in and take over.
We have a new problem.
You just kind of go in. So as you'll see here, there are 7 brutes.
I'm working on it.
3 minors, 3 majors, and there's the jetpack brute major. As it turns out, 1 rocket killed him. The second didn't even come into play. The first rocket hit and killed him, and that made the rest of this work out. Now this is going to be silly. That nade stuck him, did not kill him, but he dropped a nade that ended up killing him. And in 2 rockets, I killed 4 of the other brutes, leaving 1 brute minor. He's got a commando. That barrel did not kill him. That seems kind of silly. Direct hit, and it didn't kill him. And I'll find something interesting that I hadn't seen before when this happens. And I'll just let you see it when it happens. But here I'm just doing a little bit of a slow play here, trying to figure out my plan of attack. What am I going to do here? How am I going to work with this guy? I mean, there's not going to be anything to it. I mean, I could headshot him, I can shoot with the rockets, because I'm done with the rockets. I don't need the rockets anymore. Even though I'm going to carry them with me, and you know they're going to be able to tag along. This brute here kneels and does the old Tim Tebow thing, and yeah, I'm going to catch him while he's praying. Yeah, I'm taking advantage of that. I'm going to move along. They're going to speed along. What I'm just doing here is just going to position my weapons in place up here at the bridge controls. I'm going to make sure my ammo is maxed out and full. I'm going to gather up the plasma pistol, pulse carbine, an extra pulse carbine. I think there's a couple of plasma pistols laying around because they were dropped by some of the... well, actually, I haven't even gotten to the jackals yet, but there'll be some other plasmas. There's one in a rack already. I think there's another one in a rack below. So there's a couple of them laying around. There's several. I get the heat wave from the jetpacker. I was trying to look around for the rocket launchers, and I think I only found one of them. There were 3 majors, which should be 3 rocket launchers, and I think I found one of them. But I don't even think I even used the rocket launcher anymore after this, even though it's like an ankle bracelet. So now I've done through the speed through of everything. Everything's in place. I grabbed some kinetic coils. I'm going to throw a couple of those. And then it's just time to try and disable the stasis beam, and it's I'm gonna have to expose the cores. Take out 2 cores. So there'll be enemies on both sides coming through doors.
There are cooling pipes running towards the main engines.
So,
I'm gonna warm
So there's gonna be
things up.
several brutes, jackal minor, some jackal majors, and a grunt here or there. Now this can be difficult because these the brutes will get in cover, and then they'll just step out and start shooting. They'll step out, shoot, and then get back into cover. And you'll get those that have the commandos, and just a few shots will kill you with the commando. And see, like this guy here, he just stepped out, fires the rockets. Gotta take him out. And while you're focused on him, then on the right-hand side, you get another one that steps out and shooting you. I think you get like 4 of them on the left, 4 on the right, or 4 or 5 on the left, 4 or 5 on the right, whichever it is. And they're a bit of a challenge because they'll hang out in cover and then just step out while you're not looking and blindside shoot you. And so I had a few deaths with the commando guys. They just, 2-3 shots and I'm down. And then you'll hear a rocket launcher being fired, and like, well, I don't even know where it's coming from, and then it, before you know it kills you. So this one can be a slow play. If anything, I'd want to try sometime and try and do a deathless run on this mission. I think it's very possible. It becomes much more difficult trying to do a deathless run on some of the other missions. I mean, I'm not sure how likely or how confident someone is to do a deathless run on Foundation with how basic your grapple is. No threat sensor, no drop wall. Very basic weapons, and you're going to take on Tremonius, and he can kill you with his opening animation. So he's a difficult one. He's a very difficult boss fight. Very difficult boss fight. A very difficult mission
Knew he was close.
for the whole LASO without bandana thing. I'll just put it that way. I highly recommend doing at least this version of LASO. No bandana. I've taken out a lot of at least the high priority ones, those that are the most difficult. Now I just got to listen for the sleepers and take them out. At this point, it's not too difficult, and it's not too much of a slow play. I'm a little slow with it, but just being careful with it. There's a little peekaboo. Got it, peekaboo. I think either that's the last one or maybe there's another brute hanging out back there in the corner. I don't know. So the objective here was to take out all the enemies on both sides. You take out one of these cores, it doesn't matter which, and you'll have some reinforcements come in. And it's not many, it's just like a couple brutes, a couple grunts. Yeah, a couple grunts. And I think that's just about it. You take out the second core, there's no reinforcements. It's just at that point you do the throttle up to overload the engines, and then the ship's going to want to blow up. And at that point, then it's just get off the ship, just like in Halo 4.
Did he work? Nothing seemed to happen.
I'm not done yet.
Well, hurry. I can see them. Brutes. The little things. All waiting. Don't let them get me, please.
Pulse carbine does come in handy with the grunts, but I wouldn't want to exclusively just keep a pulse carbine, just for them, because the overcharged plasma pistol OPP, that is just much more efficient. Simple OPP headshot, just a nuke combo and they're down. Yeah, one more brute, and he'll be the last one. As per usual, likes to throw the nade. So at this point, I'm just going to gather up weapons and ammo, make sure everything's fully loaded. Not like I have to do a lot of positioning. I think what positioning I do is just to put things here by the exit door so I can just grab and go. But it turns out by putting that rocket launcher there, I think I threw a barrel, it exploded, and it went where the rockets ended up launching and going to a place I couldn't find. And it turns out I didn't even need to take the rocket launcher anyway. But at this point, the planning is really for the plan for the next mission is to ensure that you have a full BR and a full plasma pistol going into Foundation. When you leave this mission and end this mission, you want to make sure they're both fully loaded, because when you get into Foundation, there's not going to be any kinetic ammo dispensers until much later in the mission. And so you could run out of BR, and being you got blind on, you're not going to know how your ammo level. So the best practice I had for this mission was try not to use my BR. But it turns out I can use BR really as often as I wanted to. If you recall,
Get ready.
Once you go through this, you go down this hallway, another hallway, and you cross over a toxic pool, you got a couple grunts, and you get on an elevator, and the elevator freezes and then crashes to the ground, and you get off of it, similar to like how Halo 3 Crow's Nest. You end up in an elevator that crashed at the bottom. Well, there's a kinetic ammo dispenser there, and that's the point to where I say I'm going to fill up my BR and not use it beyond that point. And that's the area where, when you cross through there, then you're in where you're hopping from crate to crate, like storage shed to storage shed. The whole hangar bay is coming to pieces, and you cross over the vast hangar bay and stuff like that. So that's where it's like I'm not going to shoot or fire my weapon anymore to kind of ensure that I'm full going into Foundation. But here I can still use the BR, I can still use my weapons and ammo and stuff like that. But the thing is, with the plasma pistol, I want to carry or at least keep a second plasma pistol. But the thing is, I have a full one, so it just take a full one with me. Down at this hallway, down at the end of that hallway. Here, I'm just trying to grab it. It got launched in there. Is down the hallway, there's a placed plasma pistol, so it's 50%, and then later on there'll be another one. So there'll be a second 50% plasma pistol. So I'll have plenty of plasma pistol, but I want to carry one that's full the whole time and just not really use it, and I'll use another one. Moving along the stockpile, which at this point, the stockpile just needs to be one full pulse carbine, and one full plasma pistol, and I'll be able to pick up a second plasma pistol later on. There's also going to be another pulse carbine laying on the ground. It'll be 50%, and I'll be able to pick it up and take it along as well. So it's just moving a stockpile, moving a few weapons along. And really the whole goal here is just when I get through the end of all these enemies, which there aren't that many, but when I get through them all, I want to have a full plasma pistol, OBR. And that's the first 50% plasma pistol. It's placed, it was not dropped. Now with this area coming up, there's a trigger line you can walk across that's going to trigger the explosion. But if you want, you can just shoot the kinetic barrel that just creates the explosion. So you just peek around the corner, you can see it right there, and you can shoot that. But I choose to go ahead and just cross the trigger line. Which I'm going to sprint or grapple and just do it real quick. And there you go. By doing that, I expose myself and I could get shot up and my shield is damaged, and it just means I won't get a checkpoint. So I'm going to have to melee something. But chances are I'm going to get shot anyway. There's some distant grunts, distant brutes. They're going to, they're miners, so they have commandos, and from distance they're just going to shoot and pepper you, and it's annoying. That I wanted to stick this guy with a nade and it just didn't work out. I had the wrong nade out. And I get the right nade, he dodges. I kind of wonder, instead of having the tough luck skull, I wonder if they just kind of built in tough luck into legendary. I think I'm going to stick. There's plenty of nades in the house. And I believe there is a BR in this room that I'm currently in. I see the commando there, but I'm not sure what happened. I think I remember there being a BR. I have it in my notes. But I didn't really pay attention to it in this run because it wasn't necessary. That's what it is. That just means if you have a third person, that's the place where the third player can get a VR. You're gonna, so you get your you're going to go four players. Your fourth player is either going to have a commando or a pistol until you can get a VR. Your next chance for a BR would be, I want to say, Outpost Tremoninus. I want to say there is one there, but I can't guarantee it. I'm pretty sure there's one there. yes, there's definitely BRs on outpost runs. So that'd be your next chance for your co-op player, your fourth co-op player to get a BR. Here, again, like I was saying, I could use the BR, but because I forgot about the kinetic ammo dispenser at the bottom of the elevator, I was trying not to use my BR, so I was using the commando. And just how lame. I think that's the last of the Grunts, and I think the next enemies coming up are just these two helpless, scared Grunts on the other side of this toxic. So really, all I need to carry is I do take the commando because, like I said, I forgot about the kinetic ammo dispenser at the bottom of the elevator. So I'm taking a commando to use that in place of the BR. But it turns out you can just grapple across and just melee these guys because they're not so offensive. They really don't attack. This explosion here, I don't recall. I could probably look and test it out sometime. I wonder if you take damage from it. But it's not. It's really kind of irrelevant in the end. But you could shoot the barrel before walking across the trigger line, saving yourself from getting the damage. But the thing is, you get to these helpless Grunts, you can just grapple across and just punch them out and get your shield. You want to? What I choose to do is just to kill one of them, and then just making the other one just an easy, just one-on-one kill melee. My shield, let it recharge. So as an added note with the whole LASO without bandana, as I was looking at it, as an additional note would be to defeat or beat the game as the developers intended you to. Such as, they put all these enemies in the game, they put all these situations, and a lot of people wanted to, instead of fight them, just slip through walls, launch themselves across the map, find ways just to get past them instead of actually fighting. There's a variety of situations and scenarios, and they did a good job with providing a variety of ways of doing things. Now, I was just trying to, there's a trigger line to touch up on that creates the explosion, take the damage. And there was that kinetic ammo dispenser I was looking for. That actually got us out. Here I'm just scoping in to see what kind of which weapon I have. That's just an AR. And I was just looking around to see if there was something that I had overlooked or not seen. Just see what weapons I have. That BR is already full. I don't plan on using it.
Where are you? The Pelican's surrounded.
There'll be some of these Grunts that are scared, and some, as in they're scared, and terrified, and they don't engage you. And then you will find some of these Grunts that are kind of in between. They're just not sure what to do, and they're not engaging you. Then they decide to engage you. So we've got one coming up here who sees me, and I'm sure he knows what to do. So I'm just gonna punch him. Yeah, see, he just kind of covered his eyes. Can't trust him. I mean, they'll do that and then turn around and start shooting. Disruptor, I don't want to do this. But as it turned, another interesting note that turns out that when it comes to the end of a mission, I think they made a change to where the mission ends. If you got a shield, damage shield, full shield, no shield, doesn't matter. The next mission is going to start with you having a full shield. So there's very little consequence where if you end the mission without a shield or damage shield, I think it's going to turn out okay. Whereas before, I remember before where doing LASO having a damage shield and then die before getting a checkpoint and sent back to the previous mission and had to finish the mission again. Because it didn't have a checkpoint. And I'll be speaking more about that because they made a change now where I don't know if it's certain situations or conditions or however it works out, but you can have a damage shield and still get checkpoints. And I'm sure someone will say, hey, why is that a problem? Doesn't seem like a big deal. Doesn't seem like a big deal until you get a checkpoint without a shield 6 feet with a bunch of enemies 6 feet away from you, and if you die and go back to checkpoint, then you're back to that checkpoint without a shield and enemies 6 feet away from you shoot you. I'm not happy with that. Plus, it really takes away the immense difficulty and challenging nature of that aspect of Black Eye. The game wants you to have a shield to earn a checkpoint, and then they take that away. If anything, it has a lot to do with problem solving. Anything about this game, if I've already mentioned it or not, problem solving becomes with the whole LASO. You really have to think, way outside the box, ask questions, and go about trying to adapt, overcome, and improvise on a whole new level. So, having that in place, you need to have a full shield recharge to earn checkpoints. They may have made the change because a lot of people complained about it, all kinds of complaints and this and that. But it's part. If I recall, it's part of Halo of past Halo games were that way. If I recall right, I think there were some of the games where I remember some of them being like that. That just comes in part of the planning. You're facing a couple hunters. They're very, red hunters. You're difficult. You're stuck in a small room. All kinds of stuff can kill you. You finally get them killed, but you didn't get a shield. Sure, you're going to move on, and then you have a silly death. Maybe you fell to your death. Maybe something kills you, and you have to go back because you didn't get a checkpoint, and you have to kill those hunters again. Yeah, I would be incensed, but it becomes part of the planning. It's probably hard enough as it is to try and even kill the hunters, much less getting your last swipe, having a melee, so that you get that melee and try and get a kill without getting damage. Yeah, that's immensely challenging. But how's that going to feel that you were able to overcome that? You were able to solve that. You were able to have a solution for that. How's that going to help you in life to be able to get faced with very challenging situations and be able to think your way out of it? So that's the end of the first mission. I'm going to have the next mission will be Foundation, and that'll be coming up next.